standings leader, McLaren's Oscar Piastri, doesn't expect changes to his title fight with teammate Lando Norris, despite now being 22 points ahead, following the Brits' botched lap 66 pit straight pass. The McLaren clash, almost a direct repeat of 2011's race, where Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton made contact, was costly for Norris, who lost 10 valuable points in his pursuit of Piastri. But the Australian said it was just a flashpoint in their battle, and that he expected the title fight to go down to the wire. We're both fighting for a world championship, and I'm very thankful to the team that they allow us to race, Piastri said. I don't expect this to change anything in terms of that. We'll keep going racing to the end. Former F1 driver Jolyon Palmer says the friendship between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris at McLaren cannot go on, with the championship battle becoming more and more a two-horse fight. Spain was the first sign of gamesmanship at McLaren, with things ramping up in Canada, where Norris's desperate lap 66 move forced contact. But Palmer told official podcast F1 Nation that things will intensify.
They've still been quite nice, they're still good teammates, but it cannot go on. Now that, in my belief, it's one of them will be champion, they have to start withholding a bit of info from the other, making sure that when it all comes down on Saturday, they have the last 10th in the bag, and they're not showing maybe all their hand on a Friday, and they are getting their elbows out more with each other on a Sunday. They can't go on being nice.
F1 icon Emerson Fittipaldi says that Max Verstappen is now carrying his Red Bull car on his back. Such are his Herculean efforts to keep his squad at the front of the grid. Red Bull has dominated F1 in recent seasons, but 2025 has seen its rival McLaren overtake it at the top, forcing Verstappen to up his game. And Fittipaldi told official podcast Beyond the Grid, the Dutchman has risen to the challenge in a very familiar way.
Well, I think Max is on the level of driving now incredible. He carries now the Red Bull car on his back. He's not driving, he's carrying the car in situations that, like the Brazilian Grand Prix last year, I was there. It was amazing what he did. I go back to Ayrton Senna to compare as a driver, styling, similar.
Charles Leclerc has doubled down on his connection with Ferrari, pouring cold water on rumors he'd fallen out of love with the squad and could be on the lookout for another seat. Ferrari has never provided Leclerc with a season-long front-running drive, with its best effort 2022, when the Monegasque won 2 of the first 3 races before Red Bull railroaded. The Scuderia has struggled this year with its SF25 despite expectations pre-season it'd take on McLaren at the front, with Leclerc's highlights his podiums in Saudi Arabia, Monaco and Spain. But while Leclerc is signed on a multi-year deal with the team, thought to extend through to 2029, rumored exit clauses have fueled news stories linking him with a frustrated switch. Though Leclerc shot the headlines down in Montreal. I've never said anything of this in the last few races, Leclerc said. If anything, I keep saying how much I love the team and how much I want to bring back Ferrari to the top. F1 hit the news headlines last week, with the sport again going early with the release of its next calendar. And 2026's edition provided more than a few surprises beyond further regionalization. Australia and China will again open the season in a double-header, with a quick standalone trip to Japan before another double-header, this time in the Middle East in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, with Ramadan forcing that twin to again be held much later. Monaco will kickstart the European season on June 7th. Imola has gone, with Spanish capital Madrid's return on September 13th. The season will finish with 2 exhausting triple headers. But the biggest surprise has been Canada, scheduled for May 24th, the same day as the 110th running of the Indy 500, setting up a direct clash with motorsport's biggest event. Canada and Miami were originally expected to be a doubleheader, but concerns about Montreal's weather and ticket competition mean they are now separated by 3 weeks. Red Bull Motorsport consultant Dr. Helmut Marko has heaped praise on Racing Bull's standout rookie Isaac Hadjar, labeling him as the most impressive of 2025's debutants. Hadjar joined the sport this year with fewer than 500 laps in a Grand Prix car under his belt and crashed out of the season opener in Australia on the formation lap to his endless embarrassment. But the Frenchman has since starred for Red Bull's second squad, with 6 Q3 appearances, including 4 straight to Canada, and scored points in 5 of the 9 races he started. And Marko has been delighted, despite Hadjar stating he's not ready for a promotion, amid suggestions he'll get the nod to replace Max Verstappen at Red Bull should he receive a 1-race ban. He comes to a circuit which he doesn't know, and within 3 laps he is competitive. He's a regular Q3 qualifier, and it comes very natural, Marko said. Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso says he's not expecting major fixes for the squad's uncompetitive car, with complications in the AMR25 baked in through to the end of the season. The Green squad is currently at its lowest ebb, with Lance Stroll's 6th in Australia, its best result in 10 races, and one of just 4 appearances so far for the team in the top 10. Managing technical partner Adrian Newey made his trackside debut for Aston Martin in Monaco. But Alonso says its aero efficiency issues are largely set, with the team forced to run higher downforce for grip in the corners. There are a couple of ideas to improve this year's car without compromising time for next year, but there are complications in the 2025 car we'll have to keep until the end of the year, he said. Red Bull kept the party going in Europe while F1 was in Canada, with its show run through Bulgarian capital Sofia last weekend. There was no shortage of action through the city's historic streets, with stunt motorcyclists and the Red Bull Drift brothers. But naturally the focus was on F1, with veteran David Coulthard joined by Bulgarian F3 driver Nikola Tsolov, who gave the crowd donuts before being lifted onto the shoulders of his colleagues. Alpine's parent Renault is searching for a new leader after CEO Luca De Meo announced he would step down and be pursuing new opportunities outside the automotive sector. The 58-year-old will depart the Renault Group on July 15th, following 5 years at the top, with responsibility for the Alpine Formula One team held by its executive advisor Flavio Briatore. Renault's board has begun the process of appointing a new CEO based on its already defined succession plan. Former F1 driver Robert Kubica has lifted the world's biggest endurance race for Ferrari, the Le Mans 24 Hours, with teammates Phil Hansen and Yifeyer netting the Scuderia's 3rd straight win at Le Savre. Kubica crossed the line in a privately entered AF Corsa Ferrari 499P, more than 14 seconds clear of his nearest rival, Porsche Penske's Matt Campbell, Kevin Estre, and Laurent Vantore. While across the Atlantic in IndyCar, Andretti's Kyle Kirkwood took his 3rd win for 2025 at Gateway outside St. Louis. The Illinois race's defining incident was a dramatic collision between Joseph Newgarden and Louis Foster. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.